Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric. I got a brand new series starting today that's going to be a When I Feel Like It series, and it is called Retro Modernity, and that is where I take a look at modern games in the retro style, starting off with Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. Why with this game? Because it just came out, my pre-order came in, and I was absolutely excited and could not believe that this was actually happening when they announced it, because I loved both the Super Nintendo originals. Forget to get far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But honestly, I could not believe that they were going to make a sequel in the Pocky and Rocky franchise, and it is a sequel with some pseudo remake elements that I will get into in just a moment. But if you can't tell already, this is a classic 2D run and gun game, and it has some real shmup vibes when you get to some of the bosses and their bullet patterns. Now, 99% of the design in this game is inspired by Japanese lore. Obviously, I don't know that much about it, so I'm going to kind of fill in the pieces that I do know, but this is definitely made for a Japanese audience, and we just get so lucky to play it. But right off the top, this game is absolutely gorgeous. This does 2D sprite art justice, and going to the original, you'll see here some of those pseudo remake elements. The first level definitely has a lot of vibes from the original game, down to some of the bosses as well, and I'll go over those a bit more. But this looked incredible on the Super Nintendo, and going back to Reshrined on the Nintendo Switch, this is pixel art perfection. I'm so glad that they went with that traditional pixel art style, just in a higher resolution in a 16:9 aspect ratio. Would have been fun to see a 4:3 mode, but that's just not here. But honestly, we rarely get games like this, and we've been getting some more recently, and that's why I wanted to start talking about modern games that have that really retro vibe, because this is the stuff that I grew up playing and still play today. But you see this boss here, going back to the original on the SNES, you're going to see that it is basically identical. Of course the graphics get a downgrade, but we're playing the same first level, just in a much more modern take, and it is spectacular to see that. And I'm sure for a lot of people, this game may be the first time they have an experience with the Pocky and Rocky franchise. Obviously games like this are made for fans, but a lot of new people are going to be playing and never have played the originals, and not knowing that the first level is kind of just a remake. Now the game changes it up a lot more as it goes on, but in the beginning stages, if you play the original, you're going to be getting some vibes of deja vu and memory in the best way possible. Now that's not to say that this game doesn't have some things that I'm kind of curious about, such as the fact you can't play 2-player off the top, you need to unlock it by collecting coins in the game. Pocky and Rocky was a 2-player game, and it was so much better when you were playing with a friend. So the fact they have to unlock that here is a very strange sort of thing. I don't know why they would have done that from a design choice, but that's just how it is, and if you want to play with a friend, you got to beat the game first or collect, I think, 3,000 coins. It's a small nitpick, but every once in a while you have to bring up the bad, versus just being accused of fawning over how incredible this game is to play, and honestly how insanely good it looks. All those animations in the leaves, the animations in the boss, this is just spectacular. And again, moving over to the Super Nintendo original, you're going to see the same boss shooting what I think are cashews at you with a slightly different text box. But like I said, this game wears its inspiration on its sleeve, and you could tell the developers love the source property because they've done such a great job of reintroducing it to players. And I even love those leaves that pop up when you roll over them, and all of these different animations. He just gets massive. He gets veiny in his biceps. There's just so much detail oozing in every single inch of the screen. It's really hard to actually play the game sometimes because I just want to look at what's going on, and you'll see here those cashews shooting out definitely have a light shmup vibe to them, and navigating around, your character's not the fastest. It can be slightly difficult, but this game also has an absolutely outstanding soundtrack, so listen for like 45 seconds and I'll come back and tell you more about how amazing this game really is. The soundtrack just fits the game perfectly. As we move on into stage 2 here, as we're going through this forest, I just absolutely love how detailed it is. This is like they had never invented 3D back in the day. They stuck with 2D technology and they tried to make it as good looking as humanly possible. That's why I love these new versions of retro games, and honestly, we have to be really happy the developers even choose to make these, because these are risky games to make. The audience for something like Pocky and Rocky Reshrined is so much thinner than making a modern style game, and I'm so glad that this is becoming more popular. This, Streets of Rage 4, the new TNMT game, we're getting love letters from fans of games that went on to become game developers. And you'll see, like I said, with the Japanese influence, I don't know who these people are or what sort of lore they have, but you have that giant dude with 3 eyes and the woman with the long neck just popping through. Obviously they were fighting some bamboo. But honestly, this game is very pattern-based, and outside of getting stuck on the wall there, this is the type of game where you need to memorize your enemy's patterns, because this dude right here is blowing fire, but as long as you get him to blow the fire at you and dive around him like this, you can basically be immune. So this is the type of game, just like a shmup, where memorization is going to be crucially important, because the more experience you have with it, the better you're going to get at the game, the more fun you're going to have. Because I'm going to tell you right now, maybe leave a comment telling me I just wasn't playing well. I haven't played Pocky Rocky in a bit, but this is a hard game. This is meant to challenge you and to kill you and to make you learn. This is classic 16-bit difficulty in a modern system. And moving on to the next mini boss here, it's just a stalk of bamboo with some eyes and what looks like some sort of ninja robe on. I love it. I love how he shoots smaller bamboo shoots out of the ground and twirls them around while you're getting those shmup patterns that you have to avoid. This game is just creative. It's always showing you something new and slightly different and expanding on it. As I mentioned earlier, the only thing that I don't love about Pocky and Rocky Reshrined is that you have to unlock certain things. If you just want to play it on easy mode, you have to unlock it with those coins there. Certain attacks are going to unlock as the game progresses, and they could be really useful earlier in the game to kind of slightly ease up on the difficulty. It's not an impossible game, don't let it detract you, but in areas like here, feel free to retreat. That's why you're allowed to scroll back down the screen. Sometimes you just get in the middle of it and you gotta run away. But I love these kappas here jumping down from the shore and throwing what look like cucumbers or pickles at us. It's just so weird and wild, and so many things don't make sense. I'm sure the Japanese language audience is going to understand a lot more of what's going on in this game than you and I would, but we get to enjoy how beautiful it is, how fun it is to play, and just how amazing it is that we have it in the first place. And you do get some modern effects like that right there, and there are some pseudo Mode 7 effects in the game as well to kind of tie it visually back to the Super Nintendo originals. But the boss fights in this game are epic as well, and I'm only going to show you the first 2 boss fights and the first 3 stages because this game is relatively new and I don't want to spoil too much for you. Unless you've watched a playthrough already, then you would know everything that's going on. What I want you to do is go out and play this game. If you're on the fence thinking, should I buy a copy of Pocky and Rocky Reshrined? Definitely do it if it seems like it's fun for you, and definitely do it because the more this sells, the more the developers are going to think we should do more of this. And there is a story in the game as well. I can't say that it's the best story I've ever had, and I don't think it was really essential, but you get a little bit of flavor text here and there to kind of drive the story on it. In between certain stages, you do unlock different attack augmentations and different charge shots that I will show you in just a moment. But moving on to the Ancient Land, I love that pseudo 3D kind of Mode 7 effect. It's like if the Super Nintendo was 32-bit, not 16. And now we have these ghosts in these little samurai helmets. Even though they are all trying to kill you, you kind of want to just stop and look at all the sprite art because a lot of the characters are amusing, cute, and otherwise very charming, even if your entire goal is to just shoot them as quickly as possible to get them off the screen. I'm not sure if that's a gyroid there, but it certainly looks like it to me. Leave me a comment down below. And even these ghosts, everything in this game just makes me smile, not just because I love the originals, because I do, but because this game just exudes charm and a design language that we don't see as much in modern gaming. Now don't get me wrong, I play modern 3D games, I enjoy pretty much everything, but to have this and to be able to play it is just so much fun, and I'm so glad we're getting these new types of experiences. I just love that. I feel like a kid again playing the original Pocky and Rocky on my Super Nintendo, and I loved that game. But I'm curious, do you want to see more videos like this, modern games with a retro vibe? Because I do have one more I've made, and I've got a couple more on a list. So you leave me a comment down below and tell me if you're interested in them. But if you've never played Pocky and Rocky, play this game. If you like Pocky and Rocky, play this game. If you like 2D pixel art, play this game. It is amazing. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.